another video, and in today's video I am going to be answering all of your questions. Last week I posted a very short teeny tiny little video asking you guys if you had any questions for me regarding my life, budgeting, kids, family, any of that, and I got a couple of comments asking me some questions, so I'm going to be looking at the questions at my phone here and kind of answering. I haven't really put too much thought into my answers as of right now. I haven't read all the questions, so it's just going to be coming sort of off the top of my head. Hope you guys don't mind.
They're already 1 point ahead of us. They have 3 points, we have 2. But it's not fair because I just joined.
You guys can probably hear Austin playing video games in the next room. I apologize. He's home. It's a snow day today, and I didn't want to wait to film this video, so you might just hear him discussing with his friends his gaming strategy. He's got his little headset on. They're playing, Austin, what are you playing? See, if you can't hear me, you're being way too loud in there. What are you playing?
Rocket League?
They're playing Rocket League in there. So, if you hear him in the background, I apologize. I'm not going to make him stop. It's his snow day. He gets to enjoy it however he seems fit. So, anyway, the first question is, do you have family around you? I never hear you talk about a brother or sister or mom, dad. So both of my parents have passed away. So I lost my dad when I was 15 years old. He died at a pretty young age of a heart attack, complications essentially from COPD. He was a very heavy smoker. I lost my mom back in 2012. She died in her sleep, also at a fairly young age, but it was from complications to kidney disease. So I lost both of my parents. I do have quite a few siblings. We were very, very close growing up, but, you know, as you get older, you know, we don't see each other as often as we should, but I have some older sisters. I have a half-sister who was my dad's daughter. She is quite a bit older. In fact, she was already an adult and had her own family by the time I was born. My dad was older when he and my mom had me. And then I also have an older half-sister who is my mom's daughter, who is 10 years older than me. And I did grow up with her, so I'm a little bit closer with her than I am my other sister. I also have another older half-stepsister, I guess, from my dad's side of the family, who I only met a couple of times. So that's that. And then I have 2 younger sisters who are in their early 30s now. They're just a few years younger than me. They're twins, and I did grow up with them, so very, very close to them growing up. But we all have our separate lives. We don't see each other as often as we should, mostly on holidays. I would really like to make a better effort of being more involved with my extended family, but you know, it just hasn't been the case these past few years. I definitely have shown my sisters, a few of my sisters, on videos, older videos. I apologize for the stammering. I'm trying to get all of my thoughts together. Maybe I should have sat down and thought about my answers a little bit better before I sat down to film. I know for sure I've shown my little sister Cassie and her daughter Olivia. I think I may have shown my sister Kelly as well. Not 100% sure about that. She watches a lot of my videos. Sometimes you'll see her commenting in the comment section. I got her very into planning, so especially when I was doing like planner videos and when I had my sticker shop, she was very kind of involved in watching my channel. But yeah, so I do have siblings. We're just not as close as we should be, I guess. And like I said, my parents have passed away, so I'm going to move this pillow from behind me because it's a little bit distracting. I don't know what's going on with that. Alright, so hopefully that answers your question. No brothers, by the way. I have no brothers, no boys, very few boys in my family. In fact, in terms of cousins and extended family, I have 2 male cousins, and everyone else was girls. because of that, I really, when I first started having children, wanted to have boys. And of course I was blessed with 2 boys, so all's well that ends well. All right, next up. Hi, what shows are you currently watching and recommend? Thanks. Oh my gosh, you guys, I could go on about TV shows for probably an hour, but I'll try to keep this short. So the shows that I am currently watching are This Is Us and Grey's Anatomy. Those are the 2 that are still airing new episodes every week, and those are the ones that I'm watching. And those I've been watching for quite a while. I mean, Grey's Anatomy is in its, 15th or 16th season, so I've been watching that for years. Also Supernatural, which is airing its final season right now, I believe. I am a season behind on that, so I'm not 100% sure where we're at in the storyline there. But I have, in years past, watched Supernatural, really loved it. I'm currently waiting for it to come on to Netflix, the final season, so I can watch it all at once. But those are the shows that are airing currently that I'm watching. But I also tend to go back and watch a lot of my old favorites over and over and over again. Some of those include Dawson's Creek, which is my all-time favorite TV show and will be probably until the day I die. Pacey Witter was the love of my life when I was 14 and 15 years old, so I watched that show over and over again. Another one is One Tree Hill. I loved that one as well. This is sort of the teen dramas that I grew up with. Dawson's Creek, One Tree Hill, Felicity. Those are sort of like classics that I go back to time and time again. I also really love Lost. I've watched Lost a few different times, and I absolutely love that show. Highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. What else? Monk is another one that I'm currently rewatching. It's on Amazon Prime. It's another one that I absolutely love. Also Law and Order, Special Victims Unit. I never really got into any of the other Law and Orders, but SVU is an all-time favorite, and that's, of course, been going on for 25 years or something now, so lots and lots of episodes that you can watch if you've never seen any of those. Other shows that I love, NCIS, my husband really got me into that one. That was one of his favorites, and I sort of adopted a love for that. Boy Meets World was another one that I grew up on. Cory and Topanga, like, ugh. I could go on and on, you guys, seriously. Essentially any show that aired in the 90s and early 2000s that was geared towards like teens, those are my favorites. Trying to think if there's anything else. Honestly, I could probably, like I said, go on for an hour and list like 5,000 TV shows. TV is my number one, like, guilty pleasure. I don't really feel guilty about it, but that's just how I kind of classify it. I watch a lot of TV and a lot of YouTube, so yeah. Hopefully that answers your questions. There's quite a few that you guys can go down the list and watch. If you haven't watched them already, highly recommend those. Alright, you guys, so the next question I got from a couple of different people, and it is, how has Robbie been doing with school? Hope all is well with him. Is everything going okay? Etc., etc. So, if you're not familiar, Robbie is my 17-year-old son. And in November of 2019, so last year, he got himself into some trouble at school. He got himself suspended, and we were having a really hard time with his behavior at school, as well as he was struggling a lot with his school work. He was skipping classes, he was not doing homework. We just hit a bit of a rough patch with him. And so we made the decision to get him into what is called the Seat Time Waiver Program through our school. And what that means is that essentially he is still a enrolled student at his school, but he is doing his schooling primarily online at home. He is in contact with his teachers at school. He goes in once a week to get help with anything he needs help with and to take his tests and things, but the bulk of his schoolwork is done here at home. He does not go to school every day. He does his attendance based on phone calls and emails and he uses his Chromebook that was issued to him by the school and does his schoolwork online. The idea behind this program in his case is to get him away from the bad influences he had at his school and try to help him focus and catch up. He was quite a few credits behind because he's always struggled in school. He has a really hard time staying focused in class. That, along with the disciplinary stuff, it just made him fall pretty far behind. So our hope in enrolling him in the seat time waiver program was that he could work at his own pace, without the distractions of a classroom and, high school drama, and hopefully catch up on the credits that he's behind on and bring himself to a point where he could start his senior year next year back at school with a typical school day without being behind on any of his credits. So he is a junior in high school right now, but he has sophomore credits that he still needs to complete as well as all of his junior credits. So he was quite a bit behind. Since joining the seat time waiver program and doing his work here at home, things have been so much better with his behavior especially. I'm not getting near as much kind of backlash from him about following rules. He's being more respectful. He's obviously not able to get himself in trouble by skipping classes since he's not expected to go to classes. He's also not involved in, the same crowds. He's not being distracted by girls and teen drama. So in terms of behavior and that sort of thing, he is doing phenomenally. I could not be happier about that. It has been a little bit of a struggle having him home all the time because he and I are both very much alike. We're both very stubborn and we butt heads sometimes. But that's been something that we've been working on and it's gotten a lot better. It's also been a little bit of a struggle to get him on a good routine and a good schedule because he doesn't have to get up at 6 a.m. and catch a bus and go to school. So it's been sort of complicated trying to get him to set up a routine for himself where he's getting up at a decent time and not wanting to sleep all day, where he's doing his homework and things during the actual school day hours so that if he has questions that I can't help him with, he can email his teachers and get help that way. That's been a little bit of a struggle, but we're kind of coming to a point where that's been getting a little bit easier. In terms of the actual schoolwork and credits, he's still behind. He isn't working quite as quickly as I would like. I would like him to really be breezing through these classes as quickly as possible, working extra hours to sort of make up for all of these credits that he's behind on. He isn't being quite as diligent as I would like him to be, but he has managed to complete a few classes so far that he was behind on. So he's essentially caught himself up now to junior year. So now he just has to complete all of his junior credits. It's going to be a struggle. I don't know if he's going to make it by the end of this school year and be able to catch up to where he needs to be to have a typical senior year next year. We may end up having to enroll him again in the seat time waiver program next year so that he has time to catch up to be able to graduate on time. But essentially, it just allows him to work at his own pace. It allows him to do things in his own way without the distractions of everything. So overall, I would say he's doing really well. Maybe he isn't as far along as I would have liked him to be at this point since we are more than halfway through the school year now. But all things considered, he's doing really well, and the seat time waiver program has been phenomenal for him. But overall, I think it's what he needs at this point in his life to keep him on the straight and narrow so that he can, graduate on time, which is our number one priority right now. So overall, it's been really, really good, and I really appreciate all of you guys thinking about him and checking in. So thank you. Hopefully that answered your question. All right, my next question is, if you could travel around the United States, where would you go and why? And also, do you have any hobbies? So, traveling around the United States, there's lots of places I would really like to go. I would love to go to Alaska and Hawaii for two, I guess. Those are, I think, pretty popular destination places. My husband has always wanted to do an Alaskan cruise. That might be something that we do sometime, not in the immediate future, but someday. But in terms of sort of mainland states, I guess, I've been to New York City, and I absolutely loved it. I would love to go back there. I would love to visit Utah. I think that place is absolutely beautiful. Montana. I would love to visit Florida. I actually spent a few years living in Florida in the Fort Myers area, and I would love to go back there and visit some of my old friends and just be able to enjoy the weather there. There's plenty of other, I would love to go everywhere. There's so many wonderful things to see in this country, and I would love to visit them all. We're not flyers though. I've been on an airplane a few times in my life, and it's just not for me. So maybe someday we'll do a road trip. We do have our camper. I could see my husband and I taking off and driving around the country someday. Like I said, not in the immediate future, but someday. But yeah, there's lots of places I'd like to see. I'd honestly love to travel around Michigan. If you're not familiar, that's where I live. I live in Southeast Michigan, and I would love to travel all over this beautiful state of mine. Go to the UP and visit some places there. There's just so many amazing things to see. So there's lots and lots of places that I would like to go. In terms of hobbies, I watch a lot of TV and I watch a lot of YouTube, like I said. That's probably what I spend the majority of my free time doing. I also love to read. Photography has become my new sort of hobby. I'm really trying to learn a lot about my DSLR camera and how to work it and take photos. I'm nowhere near where I need to be to ever take anything decent, but it's been a lot of fun learning about the camera and the different settings and things. Also working in my planner and budgeting. Those are very practical hobbies, I think, but I love to put pen to paper in that way, and I also love to write, even though I'm not very good at it. So that pretty much covers it. I think I also love to play video games. I don't know if you guys know that about me, but I am a total Legend of Zelda freak. I also love like the old school Final Fantasy games. Final Fantasy X is my all-time favorite, Final Fantasy X. Nothing really recent. I'm not into like new age video games. I like the old stuff. So hopefully that answers your question. My next question is a budgeting related question. The best way to save money on groceries. We are a family of 5. We have 3 teenagers, and it seems like that's where all our money goes. Trust me, I understand that. I have my 17-year-old son who eats me out of house and home, and my 12-year-old son is right behind him at the fridge constantly. In terms of how to save money on groceries, if you have an Aldi near you, I highly recommend that you shop there. Also, take advantage of if your Walmart has grocery pickup. I know there's other grocery stores that do a grocery pickup service as well. Walmart seems to be the cheapest option when it comes to the grocery pickup. And I say to use the pickup because you can write down your meal plan ahead of time. You can figure out exactly what you need, go on the website and order those exact things, and you can avoid impulse purchases that way. I save a ton of money every week by shopping with the grocery pickup service. I'm not walking up and down the aisles and grabbing extra things that way, and it saves me a ton of money. Also, if you don't meal plan, I highly recommend it. Go into your cabinets, your pantry, your freezer, see what you have, and build your meals from there. Another really good thing to do is to use less meat and bulk up on things that are inexpensive, like potatoes, carrots, especially teenage boys. If you have teenage boys, they tend to want to eat a lot of food, like bulk up. So you can always add bread to a meal. You can add, like I said, extra potatoes, starches, things that'll really fill up your kids that are still healthy, and also avoid a lot of pre-prepared or processed foods because those are more expensive. The more that you can cook from scratch at home, the cheaper items will be and the lower your grocery budget will be. So hopefully that helps you. What else? Next question. How did you get started on your Weight Watchers journey? So I actually got started with Weight Watchers as a recommendation from my doctor. I had gone to see my doctor. I have high blood pressure. I mentioned that I struggled to lose weight, and she suggested that I try out Weight Watchers because my insurance company would actually cover 6 months worth of Weight Watcher visits based on my weight and a few other factors. My insurance company would pay for it. I don't know that all insurance companies pay for it, but why don't you guys check in with your insurance and see if that's something that might be covered for you if you're struggling to lose weight. That's kind of what pushed me to go to the meetings and try it because it was free. It couldn't hurt. And once those 6 months had lapsed and I had lost a significant amount of weight, now this is 3 or 4 years ago that I first started Weight Watchers, I was convinced that the program worked, and so I continued to go to meetings and use the program, and I paid for it myself. And at that point in time, when I was doing Weight Watchers around that time, I lost 50 pounds, and I was feeling phenomenal, and the program worked, and it was great. I did eventually fall off the wagon and gain all the weight back, but when it came time, this time around, where I decided I need to lose weight, which happens pretty much every single year, I decided to go back to Weight Watchers, especially because Weight Watchers had just started offering the green plan, which is essentially the same plan that I lost weight on 3 or 4 years ago, however long ago that was, with Smart Points. So that made the decision this time around really easy to join back with Weight Watchers. I've gotten a lot of questions recently, are you still doing Weight Watchers? Because I haven't posted any what I ate videos or any updates recently. I'm still doing Weight Watchers, you guys. I'm just not doing it diligently, which is a mistake because I'm also not losing weight. I will track for a couple of days, and then I'll be off track for a couple of days, and then I'll get back on track. So in March, I really want to recommit to Weight Watchers and get back to it and start sharing my what I ate videos again. It's really important to me because I've definitely fallen off track a little bit, but it's not too late to jump right back on that train. So I highly recommend Weight Watchers, especially if you can afford to go to meetings. Going and weighing in every day, it's a very private experience. They're not like shouting out your weight in front of everyone. But then sitting in on the meeting and getting encouragement from a whole group of people is phenomenal. I loved meetings when I was going to meetings. I'm not currently, right now I'm just doing the online program, which is also great. It's much cheaper, which is the reason why I do it. And I get a lot of support from my YouTube community here. But if I could afford to go to meetings and it was in my budget and I didn't have other goals in terms of my budgeting, I would absolutely go to meetings every week because it was super, super helpful for me, that environment. But I do highly recommend Weight Watchers. It's a phenomenal program. It works when you're working the program, and I have been very successful on it. It's not the program that is the problem. When it comes to me and my very, very heavy weight, I'm the problem. But the program works if you work it. All right. Next up. Do you ever crave stuff even if you are at your points for the day? And if so, do you allow yourself to eat them? I'm so nervous I will fail at Weight Watchers, but really want to try it. Okay, so the way the Weight Watchers works, depending on the plan that you choose, they give you a certain amount of points that you can eat throughout the day, and then they also give you weekly points. This is how the green program works. I'm not sure about the other ones. I haven't tried the other ones. So when I am on my game and I am following the plan perfectly the way that I should, I plan my meals to be as low point, but as, how do I explain this? I plan my meals to be low in points but high in quantity. So I try to choose a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables, things that are 0 or very low points, very lean meats. I try really hard to make sure that my meals are healthy so they're not super high points for a very small amount of food. Like, you can eat pretty much anything on the Weight Watchers plan. You can eat candy bars and chips and donuts. But if you do that, you're going to go through all of your points very quickly and you're not going to have a lot to show for it. So I try really hard to make sure that my meals are, like I said, low in points but high in quantity so that I can be full. But if I come to the end of the day and I don't have any points left, I will absolutely go in and get a snack because I have all of my weekly points. I always eat all of my weekly points, or maybe not all of them, but I always eat some of my weekly points. I know a lot of people are afraid to eat their weekly points because they feel like they're going to gain weight, but you guys, that's what they're there for. They are there for you if you are hungry. There's no reason you should be hungry following the Weight Watchers plan, honestly. And if I have gone through all of my weekly points and I have gone through all of my daily points and I'm hungry, truly hungry, not bored, not feeling snacky, I'm truly hungry, yes, I will go and eat, because ultimately the way of long-term success and long-term weight loss is that it's a lifelong thing. I'm going to be watching what I eat from now until the day that I die if I want to maintain a healthy weight. First I have to get to a healthy weight and then I want to maintain it, right? So it's not realistic that I'm going to be 100% perfect every single day all the time. There's going to be times when I overeat. There's going to be times when I indulge in things I shouldn't. I had a punchki yesterday. I should not have done that. This last month I have been off track more often than I've been on track. I shouldn't be doing that if my goal is to lose weight quickly and to keep it off. But that's life. And if I get to the point where I am depriving myself of the things that I love and I'm unhappy because I'm, eating nothing but carrot sticks and kale, it's not sustainable. I'm not going to stick with it. So yes, I absolutely eat when I'm hungry. I try to choose healthy things and I don't worry about it if I'm a little bit over my points or I'm a little bit under, or if this week was a rough week and I ate my weight in Twinkies. I just try to kind of put it behind me, move on the next day. And that's what I'm trying to do moving forward. Since this month has been such a crap fest in terms of Weight Watchers and I haven't been diligent, I'm trying to just put that behind me and move forward and do better next time. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay, and the very last question that I have to answer for you guys today, I apologize, this video got long, is what are your steps for meal planning? Do you have a cleaning routine? So in terms of meal planning, I mentioned it earlier. I go through my cabinets, I go through my refrigerator, I see what I have to work with, and I build my meal plan around that. I go through and ask my family if anything that they have in mind for meals, anything sounds good to them, and I will take that into consideration. If my husband really wants to have cheeseburgers this week, I will add cheeseburgers to the menu. It helps to have outside help in terms of figuring out meals. I have been in a rut lately with my meal planning. We've been eating a lot of the same meals over and over again. And so to diversify my menu, I signed myself up for a meal kit service. I signed my family up for Every Plate, which you guys are going to see a video about coming soon. Because I just felt like we were in a rut and we were making the same things over and over. Like I said, we do a lot of pasta, we do a lot of meat and potatoes, we do a lot of sandwiches and soups, and I just wanted to mix it up. So I signed myself up for that. I will oftentimes go through Pinterest and look for recipes and meal ideas. I watch a ton of What's for Dinner videos here on YouTube to get ideas too. And then I just go through based on my budget for the week, because my budget changes week to week, just depends on how much money I have to work with, right? And I open up my little Walmart grocery app and I go through and I start adding ingredients and taking ingredients away and putting together a solid meal plan for my week. And I try to plan at least 6 meals because a lot of times we have leftovers. And we also have an eating out budget, so we do eat out occasionally. But I try to aim for 5 to 6 meals. And I just sort of try to keep in mind the meals that I have going on. So if I know that I'm going to make tacos this week, then I know that I'm going to have to buy lettuce and tomato. And hey, that sounds like a salad, so maybe I'll have a salad with some of the ingredients that I have left over from taco night. And so that will kind of help build the next day's meal. And then I know if I'm going to have chicken tacos, that I'm probably going to have some chicken left over. And so what can I do with the leftover chicken to try to incorporate that into another meal? And I just sort of build the ideas off of one another until I get my week's meals. It's pretty simple. And like I said, I have a lot of great resources that I can go to when I'm feeling kind of lackluster in motivation or in meal ideas. And I also have meals that I know off the top of my head my family loves. I can always make like beef stroganoff and my family will love that. I can always make meatloaf and my family will love that. We have like our tried and true favorites. And so if I'm really stuck for a meal idea for a week, I can go into my little arsenal of meals that I know my family likes and pull from there. So I hope that that answers that question. And she also asked, do you have a cleaning routine? So I used to be all about the cleaning routine. I would do a different room of my home every day of the week where I would really deep clean it, and then I would have like an hour every day where I tidied everything up. And it was a very strict routine. And as my kids have gotten older, I've gotten away from that. I have a lot of help from my family with housework. My oldest son is home all the time now with his seat time waiver, so he is doing a lot of taking a lot of the housework off my shoulders. We kind of tag team it, we work together, and we just kind of clean up the areas that need to be cleaned up every day. Obviously we're cleaning the kitchen every day, we're doing typical vacuuming and laundry and stuff, but I don't have a set routine anymore. The only thing that still is routine is for us to clean out the refrigerator every week on Tuesday, because Wednesday morning they take the trash and I want to make sure that anything that is spoiled or no good or that we're not going to eat or whatever is not sitting in a can all week, especially during like the summertime when it can be pretty gross. But everything else, we just kind of do it as it's needed. That won't work for everyone. Obviously, if you work full-time, you need to have a routine and a schedule. But myself, being a stay-at-home mom, I'm home all the time. I can just do what needs to be done and not get too worked up over it. Also helps that my kids are older now and they do their own laundry, so I don't get super into like a specific laundry day or a laundry routine. I just kind of do the laundry as it's needed. And I think that's just the stage that I am in my life right now. Like I said, in the past, I've definitely been more diligent with a cleaning routine, but that's just what works for me, is just to do whatever needs done on any given day. I sit down in the morning and write out my little to-do list and decide what needs to be tackled that day. But if you are busier than I am or you work full-time, I highly recommend a routine. There are a zillion resources online. You can look at the Fly Lady. You can just simply type into your YouTube search bar cleaning routine and get tons of ideas. So that's what I would recommend. If you are looking for help getting into a cleaning routine, check out those resources. So that is it, you guys. That is my Q&A video. I hope that you enjoyed it and you found it helpful and I answered all of your questions. I did my best. Hopefully it wasn't too stammery and rambly. If I do another Q&A video in the future, I will make sure to sit down and write down some answers and think things through a little bit so there's less pauses and ums in there. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Make sure that you subscribe. I'd love to have you back, you know it. Thanks for all your questions, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye!